right, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the Town of Cromwell Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for, what day is today? Tuesday, June 10th, to order. And I'd like to start off with roll call. On my far left is
Tomer Kornfeld, Matt Brown,
Karen Sullivan.
Steve Waganowski.
I'm John Keithan.
Dan Delisle. Mark Zampino.
Also present are Bruce Triska, Stuart Popper, and Linda from the Town of Cromwell. And at this time, we see we have five regular members, so there isn't a need to seat any alternates.
I'm going to be recusing myself from this application, so I don't know if that affects your decision if you want to recognize an alternate or not.
In that case, we'd like to recognize an alternate.
motion to seat an alternate.
I move that we recognize the alternate. Tomer, I'm saying. It's like a W from here. There you go, Tomer.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Thank you, Tomer. So everyone's got a copy of the agenda for tonight and has had a chance to review it. I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. So then at this time, I'd like to hear from anyone in the public that has anything to say other than the current application that we're going to hear tonight. Seeing no one, since no one else is here but the applicant, I think we'll move on. And we need a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
before you do that, would you
Just
have
to read
somebody read the
The
legal
public notice, yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say, I didn't know if that
excuse me,
happened before or
I-
after, yeah.
Got him out of
I can read the public notice. Legal notice, public hearing, Town of Cromwell Zoning Board of Appeals. The Cromwell Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing and meeting at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, June 10th, 2025, in the council chambers at the Cromwell Town Hall at 41 West Street on the following item. 1, application 2503, request for variance from section 2.2B bulk requirements of the zoning requirements, front yard setback, side yard setback, and maximum building coverage to allow for the construction of addition to the existing residence at 73 Gear Street in the R25 Residence Zone District. Matthew Pagallo is the applicant and Kathleen Moran McCarthy is the owner. At this hearing, interested parties may appear and be heard in written testimony received. The application is on file in the Planning and Development Department's office at 41 West Street, Cromwell, Connecticut. John Keithan, Chairman, dated Cromwell, Connecticut, this 20th day of May 2025.
Thank you. Now we'll need a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My name is Matthew Pagallo. I'm the owner of Pegark Architecture located in Portland, Connecticut. I am the applicant on behalf of John and Katie Moran at 73 Gear Street. As you can see on the site plan as presented to you guys, the property is in zone R25. We are requesting a variance, or several variances, for an addition.
Excuse me, Matt, you have to get right on top of that mic, otherwise it doesn't pick you up that well. It is on.
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Is it, can you tap it? Is it still on?
I don't think it's on.
Oh, it went off.
I can start over.
Could you flip the switch on that? It was on.
Battery looks low.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's red.
Oh, no.
All right. Oh, it's working now? Okay. Good evening, everyone.
There you go.
That's so much better. All right. So should I start completely over for the people online?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Pagallo. I'm the owner of Pegark Architecture located in Portland, Connecticut. I am here on behalf of John and Katie Moran at 73 Gear Street. The property is located, as you saw on the handouts, in R25, the zone. And we are here because we are doing a one-story residential addition to the side and front of the home. The home is existing non-conforming in both the front and side yard setbacks. And that is the hardship. Essentially, it makes it extremely difficult to do anything on this property, given that it is existing non-conforming. So we are requesting variances at the 2.2B, which is the bulk requirements in this zone. The front yard setback required here is 40 feet. The existing non-conforming is 34.7 feet. And with the proposed addition, we are proposing 15.7 feet. 2.2B, the minimum side yard setback in aggregate required is 20 feet or 50 feet aggregate. The existing non-conforming is 14.1 feet and 50.1 feet aggregate, which both of those are existing non-conforming. So we are proposing 14.1 feet or a 30.5 aggregate to the existing non-conforming side yard setback. And then 2.2B max building coverage, we are requesting a variance. Required lot coverage is 15% max. The existing is 10%, and we are proposing 17.8% coverage for this. So it is these three variances that we would need in order for these homeowners to get the best use out of their home. I'm not sure if you guys received them, but we did receive an email, 2 letters of support for this project.
We have letters in the file, we get this one, no speak, we'll get those with the record. Yes, it's that official. Thank you all for your approval.
So I would recommend that you do a timeout here.
Take a quick break while we fix the microphone. ready to resume? Need a minute? Thank you, Bruce.
So Matt, do you have any architectural elevations of the building? Can you describe what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, I did not bring any architectural elevations. However, the architectural style of the house, like I said, it's a one-story addition, very low profile, and we designed it to match the architectural style of the existing home.
Can you tell us about the architectural style of the existing home? Can you tell us about the siding and the color, et cetera, and the roof?
Yeah, it's a white vinyl siding, dark gray architectural shingles. It has black shutters. Oh, it's yellow. Sorry. All right, strike three. So I guess before we got into comment, I wanted to also introduce the owners to discuss a little more about the project and into like the design intent and why they're doing this project.
Can I just ask you one other question? You can finish
Sure.
description of the house. How many
Yeah.
stories is the structure?
The existing home is 2 stories. There's a 1-story garage adjacent to it, and then there's a 1-story addition off the rear, which has a vaulted living
And
space.
how big is the existing garage and how big will this garage be?
I believe the existing garage is 480 square feet, or 450 square feet, and then the new garage is 444 square feet.
So is this a 3-bay or a 2-bay garage?
The proposed
Yeah,
is a 2-bay garage.
okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Is that facing the street, the front of the garage?
The front of the garage, no. The gable end of the garage faces the street, so the garage is actually in the L. The garage doors. So the garage doors would be here.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So the garage doors would be facing into the property, and then there would be very minimal disturbance to the actual driveway itself. That's why we put the door there, so it doesn't face the road. Yeah. At this time, I would like to introduce John Moran, the owner of the property.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here and considering our application. I just wanted to give you a little background on why we're here. My wife, Katie, and I have lived in Cromwell together for 22 years. She actually is a lifelong resident. Her family, the Andersons, are well known in the town. Even her father was raised in Cromwell. So we're both extremely fond of Cromwell. And want to finish our days here. So we both retired within the past 3 to 4 years. In that time, we've been looking for a house to potentially downsize in. So like Matt said, our house is a colonial, 2 floors. We're both retired and are starting to plan ahead for those days when it'll be too difficult for us to take care of the house. So we've been looking for a good 4 years for residents to downsize in Cromwell. We're only considering Cromwell because we want to stay in Cromwell. Given the market, it's been very difficult doing that. So we had gotten to a point where we talked to our daughter, Carrie, about finding a place together because they felt their home, they live in Cromwell currently on Beechwood Circle, they felt that their home was getting a little too small because she just gave birth to their second child, our granddaughter, and they're finding it a difficult living in their current house with just 1.5 baths. So we started looking for a house that we could purchase together that would have accommodations for in-laws. Again, given the market, but just given the logistics, we weren't finding anything, and we were looking in Cromwell. So that's when we started considering an addition. And we didn't take that lightly because we've added on to our house twice now. Katie had made it before we got married into a colonial, and then we added a big, large family room off the back. So we know the struggles with additions, and that's not something that was necessarily appealing. But when our daughter Carrie and her husband approached us, we said, well, let's look at that. So that's where we are today. We feel that this will allow us to live out our lives. We'll have our own space in an addition that will accommodate that, and we're really hopeful that you'll seriously consider this and approve the variance. Katie, was there any, did I miss anything? No? Okay, all right. Well, thank you. Again, appreciate your consideration. Oh, and I would like to ask my daughter Carrie to come up to say a few words as well.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you guys tonight. Do I have to say my name and address?
Please.
Okay,
Please.
so my name is Carrie Duque, and right now I live at 7 Beechwood Circle in Cromwell. So I'm here to respectfully request your approval for a proposed addition to my parents' home at 73 Gear Street. My husband and I intend to buy my parents' home on Gear Street with the intention of creating an in-law apartment for them. So this addition is not just a home improvement project. It's about family, care, and long-term planning. As my parents begin aging, we are starting to consider what the future will look like for them. Our goal as their daughter and son-in-law is to keep them in their home, in their community that, like my mom has lived here for 60 plus years, where we can provide them with the care and support that they need as they age. We believe that building an in-law apartment is the best solution to keep my parents close, while also giving them privacy and independence that we all want and need. This proposed project does not negatively affect the neighborhood in any way and is in fact supported as stated in 2 letters from Gear Street neighbors Diane Wiegert and Scott and Phyllis Becker, who will both live next door to the addition every day. So we ask for your approval not only so we can begin construction, but also so that our family can stay together and support one another in a dignified, safe, and respectful way to both my parents and also the community and our neighbors, who again are in support of our proposed project. Thank you again for your time and consideration.
That concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Stuart or Bruce, did you say you had the 2 letters we were going to be able to read into record?
Pardon me?
The 2 letters?
Yep, I'll be happy to read them right now.
Okay, thank you.
To the Zoning Board of Appeals, my name is Diane Wiegert, and my husband Glenn and I live at 75 Gear Street. We are abutting neighbors to 73 Gear Street. The Morans are good people and take very good care of their existing home and yard. There is an application 25-03 for variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals for their project. We have reviewed the details of these variances. We support this project and feel that it fits in this area of mixed-size houses. Please grant these variances. Regards, Diane and Glenn Wiegert. We have a second letter addressed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals will consider a variance for our neighbor's property at 73 Gear Street during the June 10th meeting. Please share with the ZBA board members that the Morans have shared their plans for the proposed addition with us, and we have no objection to the addition as proposed. Thanks, Scott and Phyllis Becker, 71 Gear Street. Those were the 2 letters that we had received. Thank you.
Any board members have any questions for the applicant?
So the garage bays are facing inside the L, and then it is, sorry, I'm not close enough. And where would the entrance be? Is there a separate entrance to that?
That is correct. So the garage doors are here, or the one garage door is here. And then there's a side door, which is right adjacent to it, where the addition meets the existing house.
The existing house, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, John. So, in terms of like where this is being laid out, I realize there's a basement access hatchway in the back of the house. Let's just put that aside for a second. Let's say it wasn't there. Could this be just pushed out the back of the house as opposed to expanding it and making it wider?
So we did look at that. There is a 23-inch tree that exists in the backyard that they wanted to try to save, as well as the shed that's there, which they wanted to save as well. So in terms of pushing it back, I mean, we could look at a possible redesign, but this was the best layout.
I'm sorry, like, because I'm looking at a picture from above, and where's the tree?
It's not shown.
Oh, yeah, we're there. I'm talking about, no, over here. I'm talking about where the hatchway is, right? If you go out the back
On
and the
the
side.
opposite side.
Opposite side.
So according to the site
So
plan,
that, just, oh, I'm saying, right, so I'm saying the opposite side.
Oh,
right?
the
I'm
opposite
saying as
side.
opposed to making the house wider, like that, you sort of go to the back. So
Oh,
you-
put it over
you're
here.
more sitting inside sort of the setbacks as opposed to like with this,
sure.
you know, and I was just curious, I guess, was that looked at as an option?
Honestly, we had never looked at that as an option. They always wanted a garage as part of this addition. As they aged in place, being able to access the driveway and access that side was kind of always the most important part of the addition, so.
All right, so maybe then the question is, so the existing garage is gonna stay there as well?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so make sure everyone knew that, right? It's clear, so we're gonna have two garages, two-car garages.
Yeah, so the existing garage is right in front of the driveway.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. And when the house was originally built, I have no idea what the zoning laws were, no Bruce or Stewart if they're busy, but like the thing, like according to these lines, like barely fit into that. And then when the other addition got done, that's when the sort of the full space started to get gobbled up.
The addition was off the rear.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know, but it's
Yeah.
taken up, right? So now we're adding up, right, in the total coverage kind of thing, right? So there's already been one addition done, right? Like 2011, 2012, sometime like that. Two additions, okay.
It was a ranch originally, and it went to.
Okay. Yep.
Excuse me, just as a matter of formality, is this a public hearing? If someone's gonna speak, they have to be at the microphone, and they do have to identify themselves when they do so? Thank you.
And I'm just gonna push a little bit, so I guess with the hatchway there, I'm not asking you to redesign it right now, but I guess, is that a possibility? Would you be like, nope, you got that hatchway there, no way could you do something like that? Or is that simply just one more barrier that has to get, worked through?
Sure.
John Moran, 73 Gear Street. Two issues with that, the hatchway and an exit from the basement then. But also we do want an additional garage space to accommodate all the cars for the four adults in the house. So we would still need to build a garage. It would have, the only place for it would be on the other side of the house. There's no room on that side. So I think that's the bigger issue. And then even if we did build it on the other side, we'd have to go through the house to get to our new space, which doesn't give us the completely separate space that we need.
So how many people live in the house today?
Three of us.
Three in the house today?
My wife and my sister.
Okay, and then your daughter, and so you're talking about that family, so those four would be, and so they're not, I'm gonna try to, if it's not a right question, it says, this all came up, and you even came with sort of reason why, right? So then the three are gonna move into this other addition?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, my wife and my sister. In the addition, yeah.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah, my daughter, her husband, and two children will live in the house that we're currently living in.
Okay, thank you.
Could you talk a little bit about what the actual layout's gonna be? Because what we see on the plan is we see, the existing house, and we see the garage labeled in the front, and then we see, stone walk, we see proposed addition shaded, and then we see the addition in the back. So can you talk about kind of the interior layout, so we can understand how the addition's gonna work?
Sure, so the two-car garage is towards the front, where it says it's labeled garage. As you move through the garage, there's a small mudroom space. And then once you pass that mudroom space, there's a small kitchen and living space, like a living room. And then there's a bedroom on the back corner. Essentially, there's two bedrooms on the back half of the addition. One is a master suite, so the bedroom with a bathroom. And then there's also a bathroom for like access to the living space.
So this addition is all one story?
Correct.
So the back portion of the addition, which shows 27 by 27.75, you're saying that's gonna be the master suite? And then the you're gonna go from the garage into a type of mudroom? Or what's that area gonna be?
That's correct. You would go, like I said, you would go from the garage into a mudroom space with a bench where they could take off their shoes and hang out their jackets. And then you would go right into the kitchen space. So if they're carrying in groceries, they have easy access right to the fridge, right to the
Well, that's the
counter.
garage there. How do you go from that addition? Isn't that the garage? Aren't I looking, when I look at this part of the plan, isn't this the garage?
No. The garage is the front. the
Pardon
front.
me?
The garage is the front part that you have highlighted.
No, the
in
existing
orange.
garage.
Oh, the existing garage, yeah.
Yeah, the existing garage.
Yeah, so you're talking about the existing house or the addition?
Yeah, I'm talking about, so my question is, so you've got this new garage up front. You're saying that the existing garage is gonna remain?
Correct.
Okay, so that's gonna remain a garage, so.
Yeah, that's
Somehow
what
I'm gonna cut through this mudroom, through the existing garage.
No, sorry.
To the house.
Okay, yeah, I understand what your question now. The existing garage stays, basically the entire existing house stays as it is.
Okay,
So the new owners, or his daughter, will use the garage and go into the house. So they go inside the house, they go up a little space into like a entry area, and then they can go straight into the kitchen
Main house.
living space, yeah.
so are they gonna go from the mudroom into the back of the mudroom into the house before the master suite?
No. So the addition, if we're talking about the addition now.
Yeah.
The addition is a two-car garage, a mudroom space, a kitchen, a living space, and 2 bedrooms.
So you're building a separate kitchen? Is
yeah.
that what you're saying?
Correct, there would be, yeah, it's an in-law suite. So
Okay,
so
yeah,
essentially,
we just need to clarify that, because it's not clear on the plans, and it wasn't explained. So basically, you're building an in-law suite, so you have the garage, you're gonna have the mudroom, combination mudroom, kitchen area.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna have the master bedroom
correct,
suite, and this is gonna be the in-law apartment, so to speak.
yeah, so essentially, John and Katie can come and go without disturbing his daughter in the house and the family in the house.
And there's just that one door that you pointed out as the entry into the addition.
Correct. That little strip behind the house is essentially a hallway connector that you
Yep.
can see, like that little strip.
Yep, okay.
So that is a shared space, so if they wanted to say, hey, we're having dinner over at your place tonight, they essentially walk that 15 feet or whatever it is, and then they
Okay,
have that
yep.
connection, so it is directly connected.
Okay, fine, that clarifies that.
Sorry about that.
So, looking at the plan, I guess my only question is, was there, obviously you want to preserve the 20-inch tree, but we're going from basically a 34-foot front yard setback to a 15-foot front yard setback. And within that 15-foot front yard setback, we're gonna have pea stone gravel, so we're basically gonna have a parking lot. Even maintaining 20 feet, preserving at least 20 feet of setback would have been helpful. On the grand scale of things, if the 20-inch tree is removed, can the garage be slid back, 5 feet? Can the whole structure be slid back 5 feet so that we preserve at least some of the front yard? And is there a possibility of eliminating the pea stone gravel and having grass? So those are just some of my questions, and I don't know if the commission has any questions.
Give me 1 second, Stuart, and I'll respond to your question.
Yeah. No, because the door's gonna be here, he said.
29.
The door's not here, it's here. The door's facing the driveway. Yeah.
All right, so, so we wouldn't be able to move the garage back, because then the garage door would have to face the road, and it wouldn't fit for the 2-car garage. The owners would be okay with removing the pea stone gravel as a decorative element on the side of the house. They'd be okay with just using that as grass. I mean, that's why we're here, so to request a variance for what we've designed for them.
So you designed it so that the garage door faces the paved driveway? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And that number on the print, it's 29.1 feet?
Yeah,
The garage, yeah.
the 29.1 is from the corner of the existing house to the corner of the addition, so that would be like 3 feet of wall, 3-foot door, a little bit of wall space, the garage door, and a little bit of wall space.
So the minimum for two-car garage door, you'd need the, what, 24 feet
We would need that full width,
plus the 3 and 3, okay.
yeah.
And John, sorry, Matt, only because we keep talking about it, so I'm gonna keep going on it. So like the existing garage, if I read it right, is 21.3, correct?
Correct.
And so someone might ask, why couldn't we do 21.3 for that other garage and then meet Stewart's requirement
it's
for?
The front door, right?
Yeah.
I think
He
that's
said
the
that-
door.
That's what I'm gonna say it, yep.
Right.
Because it's gonna help everyone if you explain why.
Exactly,
they
so
can't
it's,
do that.
it's a little bit of wall on either side of the garage door, and then it's the actual pedestrian access door. Yeah. Yep.
So you're saying the reason why the garage is 29 feet is because you're providing a pedestrian access way facing the paved driveway?
That's correct. As well as adequate wall length for bracing, for wind bracing.
And your total garage space when you are done will be under 900 square feet?
Correct, under 1,000 square feet. Yeah, I saw that was one of the, it was in your zoning regs for total garage space in residential areas was to be under 1,000 square feet.
Is the regulation per garage or the one garage?
In Cromwell, if you want to have garage space over 1,000 square feet and under 1,500 square feet, you have to get a special permit from the Planning and Zoning Commission. But if you're under 1,000 square feet, you don't need a special permit.
Okay. No, I was wondering, since there's already an existing garage on property, so will be more than 1,000 square foot
No,
garage
no,
on
no,
property.
no.
It's per garage, is what you're saying? on
No,
property.
no, he's only going to have 800 square feet of garage space when he's done.
Right, the total will be less than 1,000.
The total will be less than 1,000,
Oh, okay. Oh, between both garages?
between both garages,
Okay.
yep.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
I had a question concerning the, I guess the pool and the deck. Nothing's gonna be touched as far as you're concerned with the pool and the deck?
So we have to make the deck slightly smaller, and then we're also adding that little connector to the existing house. So the deck would be modified, but so yes, to answer your question, yes, it would be modified.
Okay. And what about the shed then you're gonna move back? Do we know exactly how much? I mean, if we,
The shed wouldn't be moving.
the shed wouldn't be
The
moving
shed,
at all?
no, the shed is staying as existing.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Does any other board members have any questions? So, now we'll open it up to the public. So if anyone from the public is here to ask any questions or make any comments? Seeing no one,
I just wanted to say thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
need a motion to close the public hearing?
I move we close the public hearing.
Do you want to discuss it before you close the public hearing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
See if people have any questions or they
Yeah.
want to discuss it.
opening up the discussion for the board members.
Sure. In the packet, there was, is the letter that was sent out?
John Harriman's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the John Harriman feedback in terms of the,
Yeah, if the commission were to act favorably on the application, we would make John Harriman's memo indicating that at the time of building permit, drainage needs to be looked at, kind of a forewarning for the applicant. We would make that a condition of approval.
Okay, it wouldn't affect the design?
No, because at building permit stage, they'll have to show drainage for the roof and everything. So they don't need to show it now, but it's just a reminder that they need to show it.
Then they wouldn't have to come back for it?
No, they wouldn't have to come
No,
back.
they could do mitigation for the drainage runoff concerns at the time of applying for the building permit with the same design.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, John, I mean, again, it's, only when you look at it, the property, even its like original design, even as the ranch, was already gonna be like within the 20-yard setback. It already was built non-conforming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that said, I know that's been the reason, kind of said numerous times in here, like, that's like the hardship. Like, it doesn't really feel like that's the hardship, you know? And this is a beautiful lot at 125 by 200. Like, this is like one of the top lots in Cromwell, I think, honestly. Like, we've seen so many odd lots with, you know, 80-foot this, 60, like, all sorts of strangeness, right? That, like, you know, or things that were done to them are so old and all, right? It's just, I understand, like, the needs, what they're trying to accomplish here, you know, but like, for us, like, it's, like, unless the house is going back out, like I said, on the other side and kind of fitting more within that box, like, this is like an exaggerated, like, blowing out sort of like what the, sort of the guidelines are, or the, you know, the zoning regs, you know, that's what this is, I mean, really, you know, and it gets back to the same conversation we've had 100 times. Once you do this, when does it become that everyone's gonna have property like within 15 feet of the road everywhere? You know, and I know we may remove the gravel and all, right, which is fine, I mean, this is, I understand the need for this and all and stuff, it just, it constantly puts us in a tough spot, you know, to be able to address some of these things. I just think it's a very challenging thing for us to, you know, to deal with. And yet, I know, I understand, like, there isn't really a whole lot of alternatives, like, how do you do this? Like, you can't really solve it any other way. You'd need like another half an acre of land to go ahead and solve it, you know, differently. So it's just the same concerns about, you know, if the board or commission approves this and all, that precedent setting of like, at some point, we just keep pushing the limits to the point where I just don't know what our zoning regs are gonna be about.
Thank you, it's a good point. Stuart or Bruce, have any comment on that, or?
No, I just think if the commission members have any other concern, you know, before they vote, they should express their concern, and if need be, they could, you know, if there were specific issues, you know, then you would ask the applicant to consider them and maybe come back. But if you feel comfortable, if everyone feels comfortable with the overall design, then that's fine, then you could close the hearing and vote. But if you have questions, and, you know, I would raise those questions now rather than, you know, vote against the application without having those questions answered. So I think, you know, if everybody feels comfortable with how they're gonna vote, that's fine, but if people have questions, you know, now's the time to ask those questions, or if you wanna make suggestions, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, as Steve pointed out, you know, we're always concerned about setting precedents, so, but if people feel comfortable that, you know, given, you know, obviously the hardship is somewhat the size of the lot, the limited size of the lot, and, the location of the existing structure, you know, but if people feel that, you know, they'd be better to go out the back, you know, wanna give the applicant a chance to take a look at this one more time, that's fine. But if you feel that you're comfortable and ready to vote, then, you know, by all means, vote.
I have a question for you, Matt, in terms of that. Can I ask questions again, Stuart? Was there, I know that there was the request in terms of the 2-car garage. Was there ever a view of if it was a single car garage being next to the house compared to kind of the fronter piece? I know we mentioned the 2-car garage, which is again, that's a 4-car piece. So again, to Steve's point, when we talk about a hardship, like we are talking about like an additional 2-car garage to account for 4 cars. So I just didn't know if there was an option of like a 1-car garage within that space or not. Was that considered or not?
Yeah, so the conversation that I've had with the clients was the scope was always to be a 2-car garage, because there's the 2 of them and they both drive. John, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, but that was always the intent, you know.
Yeah, that's our intent.
Yeah, that's the owner's intent.
Okay.
Excuse me, Matt, while you're there, not to digress from the discussion that we're having with you, did you submit as applicant the certified mailings already?
Yes.
You did?
Yep, you should have them on file.
Okay. So they have them in the file already. Thank you.
Yep.
I guess the whole thing comes down to is that, I mean, I agree with sort of what Steve says, but we do set precedent almost every time we we do decide something. And I think it should be on, in my opinion, it should be on a case-by-case basis. The neighbors don't have a problem with it. I think the way it's structured right now is sufficient. And I think they're working within the regulation, I guess, and that's why they're coming for a variance. So I'm supporting this, but I don't know.
Just one other, if it is, commission approves this, would it be said with the words, with the stipulation that the pea stone gravel would not be included, or is that simply handled outside of this, that gets approved, and, because we talked about it here, you'll make sure that the pea stone gravel is.
If that's what the commission wants as part of one of the conditions, along with John Harriman's memo, yes.
Yes, we would.
We want to specify that the pea stone gravel should be replaced with grass. If that's what you want.
Does anyone have any comments on the pea stone gravel? So this is kind of close to the road. It is, you're very close to the road, and with the pea stone gravel, my opinion is it would be better if that was grass. So because you are getting very close there. And it is always on a case-by-case basis, because each lot is different. Although you're right, there is a precedence where, if you got something that's very similar, but it's still case-by-case. So that's why we exist. So, does anyone else have any comments? Like to close the public hearing? Someone make a motion?
Motion to close the hearing?
Second.
So in that case, vote on, all in favor? Aye. In that case, we need a motion to approve application 2503.
So moved.
Put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So you have your approval. Please wait 2 weeks. It'll be a public notice. Wait 2 weeks before you break ground. Stop by the office.
Can
Wait,
we go back a second?
Yes, we made it.
So there were two conditions.
Yeah.
The first condition is replacing the pea stone gravel with grass.
Yep.
The second condition is John Harriman's memo, which is dated May 20th. So as a condition of approval there, basically, as he mentioned, his comment has no impact on the actual variance, but it'll need to be addressed at the time of the building permit.
Yep.
So I would ask you to
Revote.
and make those two conditions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I do apologize for that. Would like to make looking for approval of application 25.
Well, we should rescind the previous vote. We should make a motion to rescind the
I'd
previous
like to
vote.
make a motion to rescind the previous vote.
Motion to rescind?
Second?
And then a
All in favor?
motion to approve with the two conditions.
Motion to approve 25-03 with the two conditions of grass instead of the pea gravel and John Harriman's note.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now it's approved with the two conditions. Thank you for the clarification.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is the discussion of a proposed amendments and bylaws.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we proceed, I'd like to say for the record that I am now back on leave.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. Well, it's there. I believe because the discussion of bylaws, we can all participate in that. Correct? Has everyone had a chance to review the proposed bylaws? Anyone like to start with any questions?
I had a couple of things that, I'll just bring them up and see what you think. Maybe
Sure.
I'm a little obtuse or something. On the first page, Article 3, officers and their duties, in the second paragraph, about in the middle, it says, "The chairperson shall maintain the minutes and records of the board." Do you actually do that, John?
No,
So shouldn't that say staff there?
yeah, that should say staff.
Okay. And in that same section, let's see.
Do you have a copy?
The very last paragraph, it says a clerk shall be designated by the board. I don't really think we do that either. That's,
No, it doesn't do that.
it's
Town
done by
staff,
staff.
yeah.
Okay, I mean, as long as I'm reading this thing, I'm going through it. The next thing would be Article, 4, meetings. There's just a typo there. It says the board shall meet on the second, and then it has 2, ND, and then the little tiny parentheses. It should actually look like the one on the next line that's in bold. It says on the second. Again, it's just a typo. Okay, and then the very last sentence of that first paragraph, all meetings shall be open to the public except where a majority of present board members vote to convene any, no, I'm sorry, not that. I think don't we normally state some language that if we only have 3 members, that it has to be a unanimous vote to approve?
I'll look into that. Yeah, I thought it was 4. Yeah, I thought it was 4. Yeah, we need 4.
Okay, so should we have language to that effect, or is that already covered?
Isn't that in section, Article 4, Section 5?
A quorum consists of 3 members, but if there are only 4, it has to be all 4, we usually say, don't we?
So, but then say the concurring vote of at least 4 members is necessary to approve?
I'm sorry?
Oh, because later on in that sentence, doesn't it say at least 4 members are necessary to approve? It's like 3, we can meet for 3, but
Yeah.
you can't prove anything, exactly.
Correct. I guess where I'm coming from, to take a step back, is if I'm a member of the public, that would catch me off guard if I thought that it had to be a unanimous vote if we didn't have 5 members and we only had the 4. And I'm just wondering if that should be covered in there.
And that's by statute, that 4. Which obviously we can't change.
Well, no, I think let's just clarify. Mark, you're saying unanimous, like this is not saying unanimous. This is saying at least 4 people. I would
Right.
read this as 3 can say approve, 1 could say no, and you'd still have a majority and you'd still move forward.
Yeah, it could be 3-1 and it doesn't go through because it wasn't
Do you know if the
unanimous.
statute, Bruce, is unanimous or if the statute is just at least 4 is quorum?
You need 4 concurring votes.
Yeah, so that's unanimous.
So-
4 yeses.
4 yeses
Yeah.
on the motion, whether the motion was to approve or to deny.
4 yeses, 4 no's. Yes.
Okay.
So I think that needs.
I think the word concurring is what's kind of confusing, because I get what you're saying now, I totally understand it, but you're saying concurring meaning all in agreeance. Yeah, okay.
What he's pointing out is the fact that it says a quorum of 3 to have a meeting, but you need 4 to approve anything. So it's confusing.
To approve
Yes.
an application, special permit or variance, but if 3 of us got together to approve our calendar for next year, we could still
Right.
do that, like, so I think that's how I read that, like, again, if we had to do business in December and only 3 of us can get together to approve next year's calendar, we could do that we just can't approve an application.
Yeah, it's to me, if I had an application before the board, that would kind of catch me off guard.
Did we make it clear to them how long before they're gonna show up to a meeting and we're only gonna have 3?
Because I know we've done that at a number of the meetings. We've said, just so that you know, we don't have 4 people, so, the 3 have to be unanimous in their vote, or else you have to come back.
So Mark, I think you're proposing changing the word concurring to like more saying language about unanimous vote of at least 4 members, right?
I would, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, I think it's the word concurring that we're proposing to adjust to be more clear. I think that makes sense. When I first read that, I don't think I read that as.
The only thing that made me think of it is that we've done it a number of times, that it's something that I would want the public to be aware of. And then the last comment I had was, Article 7, decisions of the board. And again, maybe I'm being obtuse here, but the board may issue a decision at the regular meeting following the public hearing where the case was heard. That almost sounds like you have to wait till the meeting after the one you're holding.
Well, the thing was that word next got struck out.
Right.
That was the issue, the next was in there, which said, that sounds like in the future. This was an attempt at not rewording this whole thing.
Right. What if we said the board may issue a decision at the current meeting or,
Sure, at the current regular meeting?
yeah, just at the current meeting or at the
Or
next?
we could say after the close of the public hearing.
Which would be everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. I did read it, you know.
No, I appreciate it.
Oh, and then there was, I'm sorry, I did have something else. I gotta count my Roman numerals here. Article 8, there's that language that says removed fees, see email. What does that mean?
I knew
We remove the fees from the, we don't, nobody else has fees
In the bylaws.
in the bylaws.
Okay, so that language is not gonna appear, that's just
Yeah,
a note to
yeah.
us, okay. And then the very final thing, the amendments, and I guess my question there is there not an exposure period for any of those changes that are gonna be proposed? So it says, the above bylaws may be amended by the vote of 4 regular members of the board present at a meeting. Sounds like that you could just do it bang on the fly, and you don't, there's no exposure period for any change for people to react or consider that.
Well, it's not like regulations, so we don't have to publish a legal notice saying that the bylaws were amended. You have 14 days to appeal any issues related to the bylaws. So, it's not how it works. So the bylaws are done by the commission, and the commission can act on the changes to the bylaws that night.
Okay,
Basically, like we're doing right now. Make changes, like
Right.
you said.
okay,
But
I'm good with that, that's fine.
Mark, back to your point though, that before I just read it myself, see what you guys, may be amended by a vote of 4 members. It doesn't say, what the
Yeah.
vote has to be, or affirmative, it's just 4 people vote.
Does it have to be a concurrent?
Well, if you abstain, but then it still passes, right? Is that
Yeah.
okay, or is it, good? We ought to have something in there that's gotta be
That's a good point.
something more than
Yeah.
like.
My inclination would say it would have to be all 4
4 concurrent votes?
unanimous, concurrent, however you wanna say it. Because it is the bylaws, so it can't be
Yeah.
willy-nilly.
I'm sorry, the word concurring though, you could all concur for no, right? Does
That's right.
concurring mean yes?
But the
Well,
motion.
then, if it's no, they're not gonna change.
Because maybe amendments in the affirmative, right? So there'd be something in the, whatever the word, the, for.
Affirmative.
Favor or affirmative?
I would say affirmative, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say affirmative.
Good
For
point.
affirmative, just by saying for affirmative regular members?
Yes. I think so.
I have one comment. Mark, are you all set? Are you done?
I'm good, thank you.
Did we skip Article 10? It looks like we were 9 to 11. Unless my Roman numerals are wrong.
9 is application procedures.
There is no
Okay,
10.
there's no 10.
Oh,
You just went-
yeah, the last one should be
Floor
10,
13 of a hotel.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll renumber that, thank you.
Yeah, the original one had it, I think it, like, the original one was 10. Because I have the original one, I don't have the edits. I'm looking at the original. So like, the original was 10, and then it got updated to 11. Like, amendments should be 10.
So Mark, can you send your comments to us?
Sure.
Would that be possible?
Sure.
And then we can go through them and we'll put together anybody else's comments, and we'll put together a revised set. And you can see the changes, and then we'll just ask everybody if there's any other additional comments.
So with that, Mark, are you gonna do it on behalf of, like, the thing we just talked about for the amendment section as well? You're gonna cover the, add the affirmative?
Sure, sure.
Yep.
Thank
And
you
then
very much.
shifting that to,
And make it Article 10.
yeah, exactly, making that 10. Mark will just keep piling on for you.
That's because it's the last time I ever seen it. Sorry, Stuart.
Got him laughing.
Anybody else? Any other comments?
Nope.
In that case, we'll close the discussion on the bylaws.
I move we close the discussion on the bylaws.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Any board member comments on anything else?
Are there any upcoming
Applications?
No, not at this point. We don't, right after the summer, we don't have anything else pending. So, today's the 10th, they basically have until about June 15th, 18th to submit, but nobody's come in and indicated they're submitting it
For July, yeah.
in July.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
One question. Are you retired?
Will you get out of here?
No, I'm just wondering, did we hire somebody for your job?
No, because nobody applied for it.
Really?
So we're in the same position as many other towns, Southington, many towns. They advertised the position and there were very few applicants. We interviewed two parties and we offered the position to both parties and they decided not to take it. And, the only other person that applied, we've had a few people apply for the job who basically had no qualifications.
Yeah.
So basically, I have an agreement with the town where I work part-time, 14 hours a week, which includes my meeting time at night. And that's basically what we're doing until a full-time replacement is hired.
I'm not complaining, but I
No,
just,
no, it's
but
just- no, it's
just,
just-
just was wondering, because I know that we had talked about it in the past,
Yeah,
so,
yeah, so that's what happened.
thank you.
That's why he's here.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you, Stuart, for staying.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah, exactly, thank you.
Glad you're here.
Just,
It's all working out for now, so.
I know it's way out there, but like when 100 Berlin Road comes together, like, is that ever something that would come in front of this group for some reason at all?
No, they didn't, their site plan didn't require any variances. So everything that they proposed was within the confines of the existing zoning regs. So there was no reason, they didn't meet any variances, that all the setback requirements, the lot coverage ratio, the building height, everything was within the zoning regs, so there was no reason. So unless a large project had a very large variance, maybe, so say maybe the north side of the property, the building was gonna be too close to Christian Hill Road or something, so that would be sort of reason, but no, it was all designed within the confines of zoning.
Thank you.
So I have a question about the last application, because I was looking, because again, fortunately I had this in front of me. It was talking that there would be a special permit for like requesting to go from a single family to a two-family home. Was that part of this application or no, or is that something that's not part of this?
That's not correct.
That's not correct.
Okay,
That's not correct.
Oh, okay.
No, in Cromwell, as a matter of right, you can build a single-family house or a two-family house. And as a matter of right, you can create an in-law apartment.
Yep.
So if they did not need the variances, you would have never, basically no one except the building department and the zoning enforcement officer would have seen the plans.
Okay.
There would have been no need for them to go to planning and zoning or zoning board of appeals, because again, two-family houses are permitted as a matter of right, and in-law apartments are permitted as right, as long as you meet the zoning setbacks.
Okay.
So the real reason why they were here was because their in-law apartment required variances for the setbacks. It had nothing to do with the fact that it was an in-law apartment or a two-family.
Anybody else? I think we have enough
It's more than two-family.
people to approve the minutes from March 11th.
I move we approve the minutes from March 11th.
second?
I have a housekeeping matter on that.
Okay.
On section 7, board members' comments, Vice Chair Delisle said that Brian Fisk passed away last month. Said that Mr. Fisk he was a member and an alternate over the 30 years. I just wanted that to be clarified.
So, you said that Brian was an alternate and a member?
And a member, yes.
Was he ever chair?
I'm not sure. But he was a member, and then the last probably 10
everyone voting, or you're?
I'm out.
You're
I'm
abs-
abstaining.
You're abstaining from this vote?
Yes.
Do I have,
So, any other housekeeping on that? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining. So they're good.
we didn't have to say as amended, or no? Like, we're.
As amended.
Yeah, we can say as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Oh, so these, I'm sorry, I should have probably asked when this comes. So these books are like latest and done, and so on, so obviously.
Yes.
they're given, right?
Yeah, those are the ones that became effective June 2nd. And I would just call your attention to the use table, which is, which
A little
you'll
bit different.
probably be looking at a lot, which is kind of like the first third of the book. And you'll have a table that looks like this, which has all the different uses listed on the vertical, on the columns. And then going horizontally, you'll see what is permitted by a letter in the box, and then up on the top, the legend tells you what the letter
It
means.
starts on page 78.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, it looks like,
Thanks.
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
Just have to contact and see what's on first.
Okay,
Okay, got
The
it.
actual table's on 80, I think.
yeah,
Yep,
80.
got it.
So you look at the top, the legend says that it's either permitted by right, if that's a checkbox, or if it's a use permit required, or a special permit, or a site plan approval, all right, or not permitted is a blank or an empty cell. And that use table goes on for several pages.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference of what we had from the previous regs. In addition to some amendments.
Do we actually have any ADUs in town?
We don't have any ADUs as of yet.
We have existing non-conforming ADUs that we created many years ago. But as far as somebody coming in and actually getting a permit to build a new ADU, we have not had. There are a lot of ADUs. You'll drive around, you'll see enough weird things.
Yeah, we actually had brought to our attention by a member of the public that across the street on Palmer, that there is somebody that has a short-term rental, Airbnb type short-term rental. And very nice looking, if you looked at their website when it was up, which has been since taken down, but very nicely accommodated, or designed for accommodations. But what it turned out to be is a trailer, something on wheels with a towing tongue in the front, that was purchased and brought there. And it's not an RV, but it's an Airbnb type of RV. And unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, the location meets the zoning setbacks, because these new regulations allow ADUs. And the regulations call for the ADU must meet the same setback as the principal structure of the house. So if it's a 40-foot front yard or a 40-foot rear yard, the ADU's gotta meet those requirements, and the side yard too. That meets the requirements, but unfortunately, because it's going to be occupied, our regulations, including the new ones, says that an RV cannot be occupied while it's parked. You can park it there, but you can't occupy your RV. In other words, you can't live in it.
Right.
And that was their whole intent, and then unfortunately, they did not check before they did this. So the next thing is can they make it comply with the building code by taking the wheels off, mounting it somehow to meet building code specs? And I think that's where it is right now. But it's not being used, the person's being very cooperative, and they took down the posting on the website. It's not being advertised or booked. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trailer, RV, or whatever you wanna call it. Tiny home.
Probably figured rent it out for the tournament, right, the golf tournament?
Yeah.
What's the address?
I don't know the actual number, but it's at the end of Palmer Circle on the right across the street.
I used to live on Palmer, so.
Yeah. So as you enter the cul-de-sac, it's the first house on the curvilinear part, yeah.
Anything else? Well, make a motion to
I
adjourn.
move we adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Bruce.